hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this ragtag group of heroes and adventurers.
Hi everybody, I'm Claire. I'm playing Mira, who's a Dragonborn Sorcerer, half red dragon, half silver dragon. Originally was a bit of a politician, and now has joined the adventuring life, probably to a greater extent than she ever expected.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael. I'm playing Lockie, a Warforged Artificer. Originally was part of a flying castle, but I've since left and resumed an adventure with my now friends.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Jared, and I play the character of Jin. He is a level 6 Law Bard and a level 2 Hexblade Warlock. I'm currently an associate and ally of the Tempest Guild, and I am helping them in their goal of stopping the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat.
Hi, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Lyra, the Moon Druid, who has previously been stuck in a gemstone for the past 600 years, but has since escaped.
Hi guys, I'm Matt, playing Yervith, the sneaky Wood Elf Ranger and Rogue, who, after a tragic incident in the jungle with his previous expedition, has now joined up with this lovely ragtag group of adventurers and is looking to see what happens next.
Well, hello, and welcome back, everybody, for episode 56. What? So many episodes. Say hello, everybody. Hello.
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 Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It was a very professional hello at the end there from Jared.
Hello there.
Well, hello there.
Yeah, that's it. That's everyone's stealing Lockie's thing now.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We're playing the Tyranny of Dragons, and we are absolutely smashing through at this point. We have been basically powering through the rise of Tiamat, which is... Why? You give me a look there, Claire. What was that look?
Are we low, or did we just go...
No, this is absolute sarcasm. You are dicking about at the highest level. Like, there is no progress whatsoever. You are crawling along at snail's pace, taking every side quest. Like, anything I mentioned, you're like, oh, let's go check that out. It's like, oh, there's a small child walking past. She's like, oh, can we adopt him? Whole session. I absolutely love it because this is why I do D&D. So please carry on doing this because it means that I get to have lots of fun doing lots of story writing. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for those of you who joined us last night for our Avatar: The Last Airbender stream. We had a lot of fun last night. We didn't get far out of the Misty Palms Oasis. I was a bit ambitious calling the session like Into the Desert because we spent an entire session dicking about in the Misty Palms Oasis. And our,
Oh my god, that's like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Jungle.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm describing things in a way that's like intriguing, and you guys keep wanting to check it out. I'll try and be more boring with my descriptions.
The wheelbarrow.
No.
Yeah, we ended last session with our Airbender and Earthbender riding in a wheelbarrow being chased by Earth Nation guards out of town. So if you want to find out the background to that story and how that occurred, I've just finished uploading that session onto YouTube and onto Twitch and onto the podcast, so you can go and check that out right now. Otherwise, you can join us next week live, as I will obviously recap it as well. Not as much detail, you should go watch it. But tonight, we're not playing Avatar, we're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, so we should do a quick recap before we get too far into the adventure. So, the Tempest Adventuring Guild, a group of mercenaries, explorers, and adventurers, has been working to thwart the machinations of a group known as the Order of the Dragon. This cult has been amassing power, wealth, and knowledge in an attempt to perform a ritual which would bring a dark, draconic god, Tiamat, back into the world. Our story has been following the escapades of some of the members of this group: Mira, Jin, Lockie, Yervith, and the newly transformed Shana, who are now journeying further north to try and track down an ancient artifact used to summon dragons to the Order's side. Having learned many dark secrets during their time in the Noonian jungle, the party have managed to capture Varum, one of the leaders of the cult, who sadly seems to have lost both his mask of power and his mind. After deciding to raid a crashed airship for supplies and loot, the party discovered the Shadow Hand, a group of dangerous assassins Jin had once been a member of, may have been involved in the crash. Finding a large black gemstone embedded into the engine, Lockie and Yervith tried unsuccessfully to remove it. When Jin tried, however, the gemstone allowed his Warlock patron and the mastermind behind the Shadow Hand, Varus Nightshade, to reconnect with him. Haunted by this dark god, Jin managed to run back to the airship to get a bit of privacy, where he tried to speak with Varys alone. And we ended last session with Varys basically empowering Jin once more, agreeing to continue providing him power as long as he continues to serve Jin, and gifting him a black tattoo in the shape of a large katana, which does seem to be able to be summoned as a sword. And that is where we left off. As Jin was leaving his room on the airship, Mira was hiding out in her room, having overheard much of Jin's one-sided conversation with his god. A couple of things, Mira, you heard which would have piqued your interest, not the least being your name. A couple of times probably would have grabbed your interest a little bit.
In a good light, though. Well, I said it in a good light.
No, I won't kill her.
I won't kill her. She's my friend.
Well,
Yeah. So, sounds like a bit of shenanigans going on, indeed. So my question is, Yervith and Lockie, you guys are still down below. We went through and you guys have sort of wrapped up most of the looting of the airship. I think I typed into chat the gold that you had found. Yes, it's all still there. Good. Lockie, you've sent back this large chest which contains a large number of airship repair parts and things like that which can be used to fix the airship. But I think your decision was to actually try and turn them into an Arcane Lance, correct?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So that'll take you a little bit of time to do. So what I'll get you to do really quickly for me, while I do a little bit more of the recap, if you could please roll me some Arcana checks to try and create this. I'll need 2 Arcana checks and 1 sleight of hand check, please.
Okay.
Yeah. While you're rolling those bad boys, we'll jump over to the main deck of the airship. As Lockie is down below deck with Arvel, their other Leonin Artificer. 23 is a good start, Lockie. Natural 1 for a 9. That's not a good follow-up.
That's not a great follow-up.
The airship explodes! No.
Oh, shit.
Lockie hears a voice. Well, Lockie.
Oh,
Another natural 1 for the sleight of hand.
One.
Oh my god.
oh,
Good start.
dear.
No.
That's rough. Lockie. We'll get to you. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Sit tight, buddy. We'll get back to you. The rest of you, as you rejoin the main deck of the ship, Leosin, Yervith, and Shana, you guys are on the main deck. Mira, you're still hiding out in your room below. Jin, you've just left your room, having had that conversation with Varys Nightshade. As you get back onto the airship and start pulling up the rope, Leosin sort of looks around and goes, "Right, so the plan. What do you think? Are we heading back to the city? Do we want to head somewhere else? I know that the Drakhorn should be on our radar of things to accomplish, but if you wanted to try and chase down some other leads, I did hear that potentially there could be a bit of a lead for us to follow a bit further east in the Dwarven Kingdoms."
so who's on top deck at the moment?
At the moment, Shana and Yervith and Leosin.
Cool.
And you, as Leosin is saying this, Jin, you walk up the stairs.
Okay.
Well, I think this is a decision that might have to be made with some of the more established members of this group. I've only been a part of this party for a couple of days, but I do believe they were pretty intent on stopping and finding these dragon masks.
We tend to be a bit of a democracy here as much as possible. We try to talk to each other and figure out things together, so
Sure.
feel free to voice an opinion, Yervith. The worst thing we tell you is shut the fuck up. I mean, it's not that bad.
Fair enough.
Obviously, we wouldn't say that, but that's the worst thing that we can say, really.
Oh, of course. I appreciate your honesty, Leon. Well, how far away? The nearest dragon mask is probably the Dragonborn, correct?
Well, the Drakhorn's not so much a mask as it is a giant great horn that, when blown into, summons chromatic dragons. To Tiamat's side.
It is the closest to our location currently.
Well, we're kind of in a bit of a sort of midsection between a couple of different locations. Nunir is a small island to the north, so I mean we are quite close to the Sea of Moving Ice, the vast expanse of frozen wastes to the north. Probably a week's journey to reach the site we think might be worth investigating. Otherwise, if you wanted to head over towards the Dwarven Kingdoms, potentially we might be able to track down a dragon mask there. I've had rumours and reports from the Harpers sent from Sorceress, she's been keeping us updated, that potentially the green dragon mask may be located in an area known as the Misty Forest.
Forest, you say?
Forest, not jungle. I hear it's more swampland. More swampland than anything else.
That's, okay. Well,
Well, prefer a forest over an icy plain any day.
agreed.
Yes, I mean, the question we have to ask ourselves here is the longer we leave the Drakhorn in the hands of the enemy, the more dragons they can potentially recruit. Whereas the longer we leave them with the dragon masks, the longer we risk them using their power or getting the ritual further advanced. So it's a bit of a tricky question here. I mean, we're faced with the choice of chasing down the White Dragon Mask or the Drakhorn. We chose to chase down the White Dragon Mask, and it was a good lead. It's a shame it's ended with us not being able to get anything, but potentially...
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, anyway.
Well,
would dispatching with the Dragonborn, would that be a relatively quick matter? I mean, you know, other than the travel time?
Hard to say. In terms of getting there, I mean, we can fly the ship at high speed and take off some time. I'm sort of going at average travel pace, just at normal travel pace, and stopping for nights and things like that. But if we could halve the time if we had someone on the deck at all times and we took shifts and really paid attention to the skies. We could potentially try and shave the journey, but we do risk being caught unprepared if we were ambushed or attacked or came across any enemies. In terms of finding it, I'm not sure what is there waiting for us. The Sea of Moving Ice is a vast expanse of icebergs and frozen tundra that floats on the surface of the ocean. It's constantly changing and shifting. The landscape ever changing. It's hard to know where exactly we need to look once we get there. I mean, there are some towns and outposts. There's an orc city that floats off the coast of the Sea of Moving Ice. We could probably stop for supplies there and follow up some leads.
I
Could be
guess
worthwhile.
the question might be is this Drakhorn, so it sounded once and just one dragon comes, or it sounded once and all the dragons come? In which case...
we don't know. It sounded a few times. I mean, I've heard it at least twice on the deck of the ship since you've been in the jungle.
I suppose maybe stopping the influx of dragons. I think we need to get the other people up here.
It looks like Jin has arrived.
Jin's just been standing there while you've been... He's been standing there for like the past 3 minutes of conversation.
Oh,
I imagine that as they're sort of probably talking, I would have just sort of come up and just sort of loitered around and just sort of plunk myself down.
Well, Jin,
or something.
what do you think we should do? Follow up on the Drakenhorn, or head east to this dwarven territory?
Jin sort of looks inward a bit. It just looks a bit, in two minds. He goes.
Are you okay?
Yeah, sort of. So I'll sort of look and I'll go. Yes, I'm fine. Nothing untoward. Might be better to do the Drakhorn first, if it keeps bringing more dragons into the world. But as he says that, he's not sure of himself because he knows certain things.
I don't think I'm going to get side check here. I'm just going to agree with you because I'm like, yeah. I mean, I was thinking the Dragonborn as well, so that checks out for me. But especially if it seems to be causing dragons to summon, that's definitely not good.
At this point, Mira. At this point, Mira, you've kind of coast has been pretty quiet for a little bit. You could probably head up on deck as well and catch the end of that.
Yeah, I really would have actually
Got up a bit sooner.
Maybe gone back to my room, but just kind of snuck away when I heard Jin coming out.
Yeah.
Kind of peeked around the corner and just followed him to see the reaction that he would have with the others.
Yeah. So then you're on deck with Jin.
Yeah, so I'm on deck with Jin. I kind of got my arms folded. I'm just kind of looking, and when he says, "Oh, everything's fine, we should go to the Drakhorn," I'm like,
Insight.
it seems the most reasonable thing to do, doesn't it, Jin?
Yes, it does. I think, yeah, it definitely does seem to be the most logical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Want to stop the spread of dragons.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's all right.
I'm sensing something here, Mira.
Would Mira have heard about the Drakhorn?
You said the word
Yeah.
Drakhorn.
Yep, she heard half of it.
I think you even
Yeah,
said,
but
you want me to
I
stab the
don't-
Drakhorn. Why do you want me
Yeah.
to stab the Drakhorn? I think you might have said.
I don't think I said it like that, but
But along those lines. It's a good question. Chat,
don't
let us know if
remember.
that's exactly what he said or not.
I don't remember actually what he said.
Mm.
Yeah, he said he asked the question. He was like the Drakhorn, and okay, so as a
You
question.
yeah, I definitely remember you saying Drakhorn and then questioning
I
about
don't think
what...
I don't think I specified. what
No,
I
you
was-
might not have said what you
No.
needed to do. No, I think you
No.
might have just said Drakhorn actually.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, which is why Mira doesn't know. Like she doesn't know.
You can always
It's
look back
kind of
though
like-
in the other one and see.
Sure. Good.
But whatever we decide is the truth now is now retconned, and that is the truth.
That's fair.
You want me to stab the Drakhorn, Varus Nightshade, so that I may gain power. Okay.
Okay.
And then stab Mira. Okay.
Okay.
And that's what he said.
Not quite, not
Yeah.
quite.
No.
I
So
remember
that's-
pretty much what you said. What I heard. I think.
So I think that's why, like personally, I think that's like why Jin's torn because he doesn't want to like follow Varus's like directions, but the Drakhorn does seem like a thing that needs to be dealt with. So that's like
Alright.
it's a bit of a shit spot at the moment.
See, Jin, our paths align.
No,
You don't hear that.
he's back.
You don't hear that.
Really?
Oh man.
Yeah. No, Mira's just kind of looking at you with this kind of like nervous questioning. Like, is he okay? Did he kind of finally crack?
That's
What
fair
happened?
enough. It would have been a very interesting thing to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just trying to get an idea of whether Jin seems like himself, whether he seems, I think that's an insight check.
That sounds like an inside check. And I thank you for
Go
your
on.
self-control to not scream, inside check!
I didn't. I
Into my ears.
This time, like a proper player. Okay.
Proper player.
Yeah.
You've played 56 sessions on a podcast with me. You are a proper player by this point.
Oh my
23. Jin is rattled. Every so often he sort of looks over his shoulder a little bit as if looking for someone there. A
Nice.
bit out of
Where are the others?
sorts.
Did everything go all right down in the room? Are they all right?
You rolled a natural 1 for your second insight check. I don't know why you rolled a second.
Yeah, that's what I call
Mira, as you ask, are they
Um,
all right? Your mind, you're like, they're dead, aren't they? They're dead.
Oh God! What have you done?
You ate them, didn't you?
Oh my gosh!
You made them into a hat or a map. No, that's
Actually,
shy.
I have one question I want to ask quickly.
Yeah.
Yervith, how are you? Because you saw me talking
Hmm.
Yeah.
to space. What are you?
That's a good
How are
point.
you reacting?
I'd probably be. I would be confused. I think I would probably at this point be. Yeah, I think I want to roll an insight check as well.
Yeah.
Just see, 'cause
Absolutely.
not necessarily because at how you were at the start, but how like Mira is questioning you, and I'm kind of like, wait a second, like I've kind of like maybe cottoned on to what Mira is cottoning
There
on
was
to as well.
some
now.
things going on.
Something's up. Yeah.
If you want to go perception, I can tell you different things. Insight or perception.
Oh.
So insight's more about body language. 25 for insight. Don't even worry. Like, sweet ass man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Jin looks rattled. He looks distracted. He looks a little bit anxious. Yeah, sort of constantly, not constantly, but every so often, eyes sort of darting to the sides as if looking for something or someone, checking over his shoulder. Do you have anything to add to that, Jared, about what Jin would be doing?
I think a good way to sort of mention it is, there would be some nerves and like anxiousness, like anxiety, but for the most part, I feel like there'd just be like a heavy weight. Like Jin just looks weighted down at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like he looks like, yeah, just weighted down, and he looks visibly like a little tired.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Looks like he's
that's
carrying a
something to
pretty
add to
heavy
it.
burden. His mind is constantly going over something again and again and again, just really burdened and unsure.
What happened there, Yervith? Is he all right?
I don't know. We went down to the crashed ship and went to the engine room to inspect the damage. There was a black gemstone pushed into the engine. Lockie and I tried to remove it, but it proved too difficult. And then Jin tried to get it and succeeded. But ever since then, he's been acting strange, like he's been talking to someone or something.
Is he cursed?
Have you has Jin rolled up like?
I'm gonna
how's your
sort of
sleeves going?
Hand,
you got,
hand
like,
is no longer black. His hand is back to
I
normal.
will say,
Have you
You know,
rolled
I can-
up your sleeve or down your sleeve?
you know, I can hear you all right.
No,
As
I'm
you're, like,
wondering what's
speaking
wrong,
right there.
Jin. Did you get cursed?
Well, you
That-
were talking to someone.
Yeah, it is definitely. It was an interesting experience. I saw a specter of my past, so to speak.
Are you possessed?
I don't think so. I will, for that I'll roll down my arms. So, like,
Do I see the tattoo?
Oh yeah,
tattoo?
it's very obvious on here. Are you left or right-handed, Jin?
let's just say he's right-handed. I'm
Right-handed? As he rolls up his sleeves, there is now on his right hand a large tattoo, a long tattoo of a black katana, made of that same dark ink leaking
That is
smoke.
new.
I'll look at Shana because I'm like, evil possessing things.
Oh yeah. Shana. What's up
That
with
is
this?
stereotyping. Just because I possessed Lyra and took over her body.
I didn't do it on purpose. Give me a break, guys. But saying that, possibly actually.
Fire, that's it.
I mean, accurate question, Jin. On your arm, is that what I think it is? And as she asks that, she, with a little theatrical flick of her fingers, she summons her own sword and hikes it over her shoulder. It's like,
What's it look
is that
like?
like this?
So Shana, your sword isn't
like?
quite the same. So when you do your Hexblade's warrior feature to it, it's not that you can summon and dismiss it. It's just that very first time to empower it. So you've always got the sword active on you now. It's always in a sheath on your back.
Sweet.
But as you pull it out, it looks like a regular sword. Well, I say regular sword. Looks like the curved scimitar blade of the Yuan-Ti with those two snake heads at the base.
I'm going to. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, she pulls it out, flips it over, and presents the hilt to Jin, and is sort of like, is on your arm, is that like this?
I don't think it's like that per se. Similar, but and I sort of look a bit like, a bit tired, and I go,
Jin.
I think this is a gift from my patron.
Oh,
Oh?
I see.
Who?
Not a good fellow. He is named Varus Nightshade, and I met him when I was just a boy, or well, just a child. And yeah, he left me with a present, a gift. Have not seen him for many a year. I thought I'd finally sort of close that chapter. And then I I'll sort of channel my energy, Owen, and materialize the sword.
Would you like to describe it for everybody?
So how I would sort of think it would work, as I sort of hold out my hand, the light from like where we are on the ship would probably lessen.
Yep.
Like almost like overcast, and then like the shadow from behind me would suddenly get sucked and starts enveloping me, and then would form into the sword.
Yeah, you watch as Jin summons this sword, his shadow is pulled from his body and is used to create the blade. While Jin is holding this long black katana, slowly leaking this dark, shadowy smoke, he has no shadow.
That's cool as fuck!
Yeah, this is simultaneously like that is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and also like that's terrifying.
And the tattoo's
Owen,
gone as well.
It'd be pretty cool if while this is happening, there'd be like some like black sort of shadowy discharge coming from my eyes as well, which would be pretty cool.
Oh, you can have your eyes go black.
Just for
Yeah,
flavor.
absolutely. Yeah, done.
Just for flavor.
Absolutely. Yeah, you watch as Jin's eyes turn black. Shana.
And just whisper a little, and just weeps a little bit of the shadow.
Yeah, Shana. Black eyes, slowly weeping shadow. Sounds a bit familiar to you. You've seen that before. Dreaming.
Oh, that's new to me.
Mira
Did
takes
my-
a step back. She's just
Did
like,
my flavor add something?
Should I be concerned right now, Jen? This doesn't seem normal.
You look possessed.
You've never done this before, but I've only known you a couple of days.
The blade compels me to kill you.
I start looking at the others like, is this normal
Is
for
this
Jin
new?
to do this?
I've never seen him do that before. Leosin points.
I admittedly have control of myself. I am not some unkempt beast that will charge at you.
Yeah, but isn't that what a possessed person would say?
That is what a possessed person say. You're right, Leosin. Mira just kind of edges towards Leosin.
No, Leosin tries to get behind you. No. I think you should be in front, Mira.
No, I don't think so.
I need a Zua here. Where's the Zua? I need to hide behind you.
I'll sort of say, well, I sort of used to be able to do this when I was a bit younger. Before I turned my back on that path. But we have bigger fish to fry, unfortunately. And with Tiamat sort of being awoken, I will use this power for now to put that threat to rest, and then I will figure out what to do with it.
Jin, I need to be honest with you. As far as I'm aware, the only way to outrun a patron is for the entire plane of being that they were on to die. That is, as far as I'm aware, that is how I've evaded my patron. Let's call it that. The darkness of the dreaming dark. But I must admit the eyes are a little bit familiar in a very uncomfortable way. It's something I haven't seen myself for 600 odd years. It's
Oh, really? That long?
That sounds not good.
That's yeah.
It is not, because the dreaming dark is not good. It's very bad. It is funny enough, actually caused the death of his own plane, which was a bit of a laugh at me, but at the cost of my people and everyone on the plane and the plane itself. But I guess got me too.
Well, I can't say that these beings are the same. My patron comes from the Shadowfell. I am unaware of whether or not they have any connection. As I sort of let the sword as I sort of release the sword, and all the shadows pour out back. It pours out of the sword and then sort of envelops me again, and then I have my shadow again. And I look normal.
Tattoo's now back on his wrist.
Question: does the Shadowfell work in your world the same as other worlds?
Well, that's a good point.
So the Shadowfell is a plane of existence. So where Shana is from is another plane of existence. So you can access these other planes through planar magic, the same in any worlds, except of course on Nostea, where planar magic is very much restricted. The world you are on, there's very, very little access to planar magic.
Okay, so it's very unusual to have planar beings kind of.
So the only planar travel was during the Age of the Giants, the very early age of the world, when the Giants sort of, because the world of Nostea was a giant world. It was only the Giants on it originally, and it was created by Anam, the father of the Giants. And then when they began experimenting with planar magic, they then basically opened up pathways that all the other races came through, or most of the other races, I should say. And then when the ruin happened, and after the Giants disappeared and the ruin happened, then a number of other races were created. But the most recent arrivals to Nostea were the Ganassi, the elemental people. They were the most recent, so they came just before the ruin, through the very last giant portal that was still active. And then their arrival, whatever it did, drained the last energy from it, and ever since, planar magic has not functioned on Nostea in the same way. No one's cracked the secret since.
So this is old magic, Jin.
Old magic, baby.
Wait, so just quickly, because my dad came in then. So it's not connected to Shana though, by the sounds of it.
No.
You've got no idea.
Well,
it very easily could be. It easily could not be. I mean, Shana's talking about events that took place a long time in the past. You're talking about events that have taken place more recently. There's 600 years of time span between these two events. You don't know. You don't have enough information.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I know.
I know I haven't been here in this group a very long time, but I have to say, you're all entitled to your secrets, but anything that might be of detriment to this group, you should probably tell us. I've seen what mutiny can do to a group. It weakens and demoralizes, and it doesn't end well.
Well, for the sake of transparency, my main goal here, other than the takedown of Tiamat, is to get Lyra back, and there's probably not a lot I won't do to not do that.
Wait, to not do that?
Something like that. To
Wait.
not do that?
A lot of things you will too do to get her back.
You'll stop at nothing to get Lyra back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Ah, very good.
Insight check from Leosin there. Yeah, Leosin looks a bit suspicious at you, Lyra. At you, Shana.
Yeah.
A double negative.
Yes, that's right, Jin. Anything that's maybe conflicting goals here needs to be out in the open. If you've got other interested parties, we need to know about it. Mira looks very uncomfortable.
Well, other than Varys himself and his little shadow hand, yes, there's a lot of things I still need to put together myself.
Do you know what his intentions are, this Varys? Why has he spoken to you?
Not to me.
Perhaps.
He has spoken to me because I actually was able to evade him for a time. And now he is back and he has more interest than ever in me and yes, what we're sort of getting up to here.
Then do you need help, Jin?
Why?
If you want to evade him.
Well, I was getting help from Susurrus, wasn't I, Owen?
You don't know. So you remember
okay.
that? You're not sure who it is because when he spoke about them, he didn't speak about them as like a gender or as an individual. He sort of said there was someone interfering, but that person's been dealt with. I tore them apart.
Okay.
That's what you remember.
I have no idea who that was.
You thought it was Susurrus, but you didn't share that with him. And then because he thought you knew, he didn't share either. So neither of you discussed it.
Fucking great. Yeah,
You just don't know. Although Leosin did just say he'd received word from Susurrus about a lead on the Green Dragon Mask as well.
So it sounds like Susurrus is still alive.
If you say that out loud, Leosin goes, "Well, I hope so.
not.
I only spoke with Susurrus 2 days ago."
Oh, I don't say it out loud, but that's
okay.
cool to know. Yeah, lots to unpack. I will walk up to Shana though, and I'll be like, I'll actually pull out this this pretty nice ornate sword. And I go, well, now that I have this tattooed hand that can summon a sword, I don't really need use for this anymore. And I offer you the sword I was using. It is a 1+ magic longsword.
Heck yeah. Are you
So-
sure you don't have use for it? I'd hate to relieve you of a good weapon that you can use and might save your life. I guess that's for you, but I have more magic than I can shake a stick at. Are you sure?
I have as much magic, and I'm not going to use it. You may as well keep it and use it to, and use it for good. I do have my other ways now.
Well, how about as a compromise? I'll keep it safe for you until should you need it again.
Perfect. Until then, use it in combat and all that other such as we need it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jen. It's been a long time since I've been in the world of warlocks and patrons and, well, been in the world of the living, but should I be able to give you any counsel, I'm here to talk.
I'll give her a bow, like a respectful sort of bow, like not very low, but just like a nod, like a good. Yeah.
She returns the head nod. Just
I will look at Shana then, like, you were speaking about your patron before. Where are they now? Have you had contact now that you've become Shana in, I guess, in corporeal form?
Nasty stuff, that business. It's a bit of a story, but the long and short of it is I teamed up with the Dreaming Dark a very, very long time ago, and I thought that with their help, I could make the world and the plane a better place, but all that resulted in was him taking over the entire plane, and then the entire plane being destroyed by him. But I had thought that the light had intervened and caused him to be destroyed with the plane, because after its destruction, I hadn't heard about it again. But saying that, that's the same time that I united with Lyra, so it's entirely possible that maybe he did survive, and I've just been hiding very well this time. For the sake of this plane, though, I hope he's dead, because he is bad fucking news.
Quite. I can see that we all have our little secrets and surprises. Maybe your patron will just come out of the blue, like mine did.
If they do, we're in for a great deal of trouble.
As I sort of walk, I'll sort of walk from Shana a little bit and walk back to where I was sort of standing before. Mira and Yervith, how are they sort of reacting to all this?
Looking suspicious, I suspect.
Yeah. I had to kind of squinted a little bit, just like looking at you, like. Yeah.
Mira's looking a bit crestfallen.
I'd probably be standing kind of close to Mira, because I'm probably in the same field as her at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just warlock things.
Just warlock things.
Just warlock things.
Yeah. She just looks. She's thinking about what Daedalus said about people who get close to her turning to like the darkness, and she's looking at these two, Shana and Jin now, and she's
Oh, I had fun with Daedalus.
You sure did.
Speaking of, where's Lockie?
So, thank you very much. I was about to jump across to Lockie. Lockie, yeah, you're downstairs in the lower bowels of the ship with Arvel and sort of assembling the pieces. And Arvel's going, yes, these pieces look fantastic. Fairly good condition as well. I'm surprised that they're in such good nick. Is this a whole roll of electrum wire? Sounds like pulling it out. My goodness, yes. Lockie, your plan. What were you thinking of creating? You talked about an arcane lance.
Absolutely. So I was thinking, if we could use the energy from the ship and perhaps convert it or compress it into a smaller, more concentrated form, that once we gave it some sort of outlet, i.e. the barrel of the cannon, it would be able to fire, or perhaps maybe with some input from somebody else's.
Yes, I'm familiar with using the magical force innate inside creatures who use magic, wizards, sorcerers, etc. They can channel their magic through. I'm familiar with that. That's fairly straightforward. In terms of channeling power from the ship, the only concern I would have is that every time we fired, our engines would cut out.
That would be a problem.
Could be an issue. Leave us sitting ducks, as it were.
Gravity and all that.
Yes, we do need our acclivity ring to stay aloft.
Perhaps not from the ship then.
Maybe not from the ship then.
We would have to draw it from the person in the firing.
Yes. There would need to be someone who could push the magical energy into the device and activate it in a spectacular fashion. Converting the magical energy into some sort of force that pulses forwards, like a lance or a spear, striking the enemy ship, or the enemy in general.
Would we be able to, hold on to the transference of the energy to keep its type, perhaps? So if someone were to put in, say, ice energy, it would be an ice-flavored lance, and a fire energy, fire, or whatever.
That's a good question. We could look at doing something like that. I've never heard of such a device, but Now that you say it, I can't imagine it would be impossible. Perhaps difficult.
Would be difficult.
It would be good if we had some blueprint to work off of, some item that was already able to convert different types of energy. Perhaps we could use something like that to help us research this.
I mean, I could possibly draw some schematics from the I hate to use this term, but from the flying castle.
Yes, okay, yes. It is a sky castle. Flying castle's fine. Well, it was a sky castle. I hear you crashed it. Not you. Sorry, not you. I hear the cult crashed it.
They did.
I'm sorry.
They will pay.
They will. They will pay.
In blood. Anyway,
as Lockie's eyes turn red, he's like, in blood. Anyway.
Yes. Well, but before it was killed, they used the ability to transform elemental energy into thrust, into power, into force. So,
okay.
I could perhaps use the expertise from that and use its. My voice sounds strange today. I think I've got a cog free somewhere. I need to do some maintenance.
Did you need me to take a look? I've got some Allen keys ready.
Oh, that's very.
Wait, no, to be a fantasy version of Allen, I have some Elaine keys ready.
Elaine keys.
Elaine keys, yes, a famous elven artificer, Elaine.
Yes, I only use
Aliane.
Aliane keys. Yeah.
Aliane keys.
Oh, it's fine. I'll do some maintenance later on. No, yes, no. If I was to use the sort of the basic idea of those, perhaps we could create some sort of energy conversion.
Yes, that sounds like a grand idea. Yes. Lockie, as you sit down and begin drafting out these schematics, you're very confident with them. As you go through, you look at your schematics and you think, yeah, fantastic. This is, in theory, this is easy. And that's your first Arcana check. These schematics, you smash them out, you think, yeah, fantastic. As you move on to the next stage, the construction, you and Arvel very quickly find that despite how detailed and how exciting the schematics were, the realism and the feasibility of putting this together quickly seems far beyond your skill. Things start to take a bit of a sour turn when you accidentally ground yourself while trying to join together two pieces of conduit wire, resulting in you taking a d6 damage. If you could please roll me a d6, Lockie. A d6 damage, and Arvel, all of his hair splooshes out, like he's been affected with static.
Well. See, I absolutely was like, I'm pretty sure if we play this through, it's got
Lockie, you watch as Arvel's mane is just straight out in all directions, like he's been rubbed down with a balloon. Lockie, I'm sorry. You're made of metal, Lockie. You can't just. You're a. You conduct electricity, Lockie.
What have I done? What? This is strange. Oh my. Oh, that's much better.
For podcast listeners, Michael began tightening his throat as if he was tightening a voice box.
Yes, so I'll use the Elaine key.
Elaine key, using his Elaine key. The chat has said Lockie does sound like an IKEA furniture. It does sound like an IKEA furniture range. The Lockie. We have the new range of the Lockie. The Lockie. As you then move on to the construction phase, we'll save that result for as we're underway, but you sort of end your artificing session with Arvel there. Arvel sort of trying to smooth down his fur, but it immediately straight back up again with his large lion's mane. And you sort of still occasionally finding that your gyroscope is a bit out. So as you go to walk forwards, you just walk into the side. You have to sort of stop and be like,
I think I'm going to go back to my room. Ow, oh, that
do you need a hand?
I will be fine.
I will be fine. Good to know, Lockie.
Wow.
Bahamut speed too. Just walk into the door again.
Where did I leave that spare can of WD-40? Oh no.
Stands for Wet Dragon 40. Back up with the plot on the top deck. Leosin sort of looks and goes, right, so what's the plan? Sea of moving ice, misty forest. What are we thinking? Or back to Oxenfurt, back to Palin, none of the above. What do you reckon? Where are we thinking?
I think we're too far along, yes, and I think that we need to continue with this, no matter where it leads. I say we go to the Horn, up north.
To the Horn?
To the Horn.
What the? What? That was a weird
It
sound
seemed
effect.
appropriate.
No, we just heard you go like.
So for context, I'm guessing you used an NVIDIA Broadcaster microphone effect, correct?
I didn't change anything. It's literally my standard settings.
Okay. Because it sounded like a voice effect. Because all we heard was.
It sounded like an actual hiss. I was like, damn.
It sounded like a robotic hiss though.
Yeah.
That's Lockie as his gyroscope malfunctions again. Were you saying the heart? Is that the?
I was saying to the Horn.
Okay.
All
To the
excited
Horn.
like.
Okay, because your microphone, I think, noise suppressed you because the volume change was too great, and so
No, that's probably right. I
all we
probably
heard
exceeded
was-
the game.
all we heard was, which was hilarious. Very disturbing as well. Like that sound will wake me up at 2 a.m. this morning. I'm gonna wake me up.
It'll wake you up.
Just one by
Alice?
one things. Just
I'm gonna roll over and there's just Shana's there like. Sorry. back in the game. Shake it off. Yeah. All right. So I'll set the course. Looks like it's gonna be a couple of days of travel. Are we pushing the airship as fast as we can? Get there, go in
do we have
shifts.
winter gear on board? Are we equipped? to
Yes.
deal with the
We've got some
freezing conditions?
coats. Yep, we've got some coats.
Oh,
And I'm
that's-
sure if we spoke to Arvel and Lockie, they could come up with something artificery for us to keep our body heat or keep the warmth.
Yeah, that would be good. Excellent. They might have a bit on their plate. I know we salvaged some parts for the ship. Yes, we'll see how they're going with it. But
Oh, great!
that'd be good.
Some repair parts. That's fantastic.
Oh yes, quite a lot. I'm sure Lockie can fill you one of the specifics.
I hope they're being
We've
careful.
managed to get a fair bit.
It'd be a shame if something happened to all that equipment. Seems very valuable. It'd be
Oh yes, extremely valuable.
yes. And with
Shall
that,
I pull Mira aside?
oh
Just
yeah, of
before
course
we
you can.
go
course
into
you
the snow. It's just, Mira, I have a very odd personal question. Feel free to answer it if it's too personal.
No.
I've never been a reptile before, and what happens when one of them is in the cold? I know that the snakes don't like the cold. They generally go to sleep. But I'm assuming maybe a UNT is similar to a Dragonborn, and so what happens when you get cold?
Well, actually, I'm the exact wrong Dragonborn to ask, because I'm actually a silver Dragonborn from the north, so I'm actually resistant to cold and fire. But I have heard that when back in in the big cities and things, we used to carry around little heat warmers, and actually that was one of my jobs with my magic was to heat up the hand warmers for the diplomats because their hands would get really cold. So it's mainly the joints you have to look after.
Because the hands
That's
get really
the
chilly.
thing. Yeah.
As long as I'm gonna go to sleep, am I? Like,
No,
really
no.
inopportune timing.
No, some of the older politicians did go to sleep, but no one really noticed that, so I don't think it'll be okay. But if you need warming, I'm the person to do it. Yes.
And when you're at
We
the
can make you a
equator,
bath. Would you like a bath? If I'm no bath.
I don't think that there is one on this ship.
Leosin sort of turns and goes,
Maybe later.
there's a washroom. Sorry, I wasn't eavesdropping. You're just having this conversation right below the wheel. There's a wash basin. You can fill it up with water and heat it up.
I can do that. Let me make you a bath.
Yeah, I don't think I'll fit in the wash basin. My tail's maybe a little bit too long.
Maybe. I know. I'll knit you a woolly. You know those trees. You know the trees with the rainbow like.
Hang on. Sorry. What you said is, hang on. Can we just discuss the sentence you just said then, Claire? What you said was, I'll knit you a, you know the trees. The trees.
Alright. Okay, so in Australia, for some reason, people knit like wrappers for trees.
Yes.
And
street signs as well.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to knit a big.
It's called yarn bombing for those of you who are
I was
interested.
just thinking that. Yeah.
Yarn bombing. I'm going to yarn bomb Shana. I'd like to yarn bomb Shana, please.
Going to make a giant doily that she sits in.
Yeah, I would.
What level is that? Is that 4th level yarn
Maybe
bomb?
4th level.
Yeah.
Yarn bomb's a 4th level conjuration spell.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Leosin sort of is still there above, like still steering the ship as you have this conversation directly below the wheel. He's like, yes. Yes, my toes get chilly sometimes at night, Mira.
Mira doesn't hear him. She's just excited about Shana. She's just like,
okay,
let's go and do this.
Yeah, that's fair. I do have the captain's cabin after all. Let me know. Keep quiet. Lockie. After a few moments, you hear the clatter of clawed feet as one of your other shipmates steps down and knocks on your door and opens it up. That's the noise of the door opening. And Corvin is there, the raven folk. Standing there, goes, yes, maybe Lockie or Arvel could create some sort of like arcane warmer that could keep us warm in the north. Wouldn't that be lovely?
That would be lovely.
Just an idea. One to mull it over, lad. Corvin nods.
Oh.
Gives you a wave.
Yes, I will try.
Yes, I will try.
You got it.
He walks back out. A few seconds later, Mira and Shana, Corvin walks up the steps, and Steps goes, yes, I will try.
Right, sounds like things are going well down there.
Lockie and Arvel could create some sort of winter warmer. Yes, I will try.
Okay. Well,
Salutes, and then goes back up to the crow's nest. Literally.
Yeah, literal crow's nest.
How big is the crow's nest?
So it's actually not at the top of a large pot, because you'll notice that on the deck of the ship there are no masts. The sails, there are no sails. There are folded up sails to catch the wind. Sometimes they emerge from the sides.
Yeah.
But the main propulsion of these propellers at the front and the back. But just above the captain's cabin there is a little lookout perch, and you can see that that Corvin has set this up as a little nest. He's got all sorts of like ropes and cloth and things like that tied together. He's made a little tarpaulin over the top to keep off the rain. He's got little side walls and things like that, and there's a big zipper that he uses to zip it up and keep himself safe and dry.
Oh, that's super cute. I was just wondering if there was enough room for Yervith to just go up there and see if there was a viable position to also have a look around. But if it's already taken, I'll leave Corvin.
He zips it up so only his beak is visible through the.
Oh,
and then
sorry.
and then it slowly withdraws back in as it closes. And then in the mornings, it's like you just see the beak come out, and then these little beady eyes, and then he unzips and comes out fully.
Yeah.
Oh, Mira, I can never tell with Corvin if he's asking a question or making a statement. The lack of inflection in his speech pattern is really difficult sometimes.
I agree. I never know really how to approach Kinku's.
Curse to copy the voices of all you hear. Really difficult sometimes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes it very difficult, yes.
Very difficult, yes.
He seems like a good fellow.
Oh, yes. I just can't tell.
Corvin, good fellow.
Yeah, that's right.
He then claps as Shana does.
This fruit
But
fly
his
is
feathers-
really pissing me off.
His feathers make no noise. It's just.
Never met a raven folk before, but I'm sure we'll get along just fine.
We'll get along just fine.
What? Mira?
I was going to say, you're going to see so many interesting people coming along with us. Yes.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I've already seen more than most see in their lifetime in the span of 72 hours or so.
As
Yeah.
As Yervith says this, I'll sort of I'll look at him like, yes, you'll see a lot of interesting people, like this fellow that I copied way back in the city, and I sort of changed my appearance to resemble an orc, enormous half orc, gigantic muscles, just wears a loincloth,
Your clothes.
massive lower
Your clothes-
canines like an orc would have.
Your- Are you casting disguise self or changeling transformation?
Changeling, covered
So
in
your
scars
clothes
and tattoos, Matt.
begin like stretching across this body because your clothes don't change.
Yeah, no. Oh, like I've got but he keeps his hair
It
up
is
in a very impressive top knot.
Hawker.
Wow,
Okay.
that is impressive.
I sort of
who am I
look
looking
off.
at here?
I sort of look off in the distance. I think his name was Krognak or something.
Krognak the Barbarian! Corvin.
Sounds like a great guy. Looks
I sort of
What a
nod and go,
bastard, says
I
Corvin.
might have to. Yes, it's interesting form.
Oh, this is good.
That's right, Matt. I remembered our chat about Krognak, your half-orc barbarian that used to play.
my first ever D&D character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aw.
No, there was a reason for me. Just
Was his
jumping in.
catchphrase Krognak Smash?
Yes.
I think he said, yes. I think he was like, Krognak smash!
Krognak would do anything and everything without much prompting. Like, it was always like, hey, do this thing. And he'd be like, okay. And he would just, like, do it.
What's funny
Sometimes
is
it
me
is
and
fun
Matt,
playing a blunt instrument.
Yeah.
Me and Matt were talking about Krognak once, and I just kept asking Matt questions of how to describe him, so I could maybe use him one day.
Amazing.
Oh, I see. That's amazing. Anyway.
Well, I drop it anyway. I drop it,
Okay.
and then I sort of try to, I just sort of get into my bag of holding and just get up. I put all my disguises and everything in the bag of holding, so then I take out another disguise, or another costume like that I wear that's quite like similar to what I was wearing.
Alrighty. My question is, you guys are going to have about 3-4 days with the airship moving at high speed of downtime. During that time, Lockie is going to be trying to create the Arcane Lance, emphasis on trying.
Emphasis on triangles.
Emphasis
Can I
on
also have a side project of trying to make this?
Yeah.
Now, okay, if we're launching 3 questions, I think.
Yes.
First up, the ship still has like those canvas sails on the sides, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes. Is there spare canvas on the ship?
Yes, there is.
Fantastic. Second question. I'm trying to think of a material that when it would friction with itself or another material wouldn't wear away, but just create a good amount of heat.
Okay. So you're going to want something that's got moderate friction, essentially. Something durable with a moderate amount of friction, because too much heat is going to wear away any material. So you want to have enough friction that you're generating heat, but not too much that it's wearing it. So, ironically, probably wood is a good bet, because wood is very durable, especially if it's been properly treated, and you can generate quite an amount of heat and friction with wood, especially if it's flat against each other and you're moving like this. You can generate quite large amounts of heat. Otherwise, if you're looking for lots and lots of heat, if you can get 2 metal plates, 2 bronze plates, treat them with a little bit of oil and rub them together really fast and constantly keep that oil updated, you can generate quite obscene amounts of heat.
Okay. Because my thought was using the canvas from the sails, I would be able to make like, you know how they have the, like back in like the Templar ages and stuff, they would have the cloaks that go over the armor to
Yes.
sort of hold in the heat and
Yes.
also reflect the sun. Or something along those lines using the canvas, but then also with a small contraption or box that would sit somewhere on the canvas that when you would like rotate it, it would do like a step, I think it's a step up of the gearage, so that it would like a slow rotation would spin the like a
Yeah, okay.
really quickly to get underneath the thing and sort of just generate a bit of friction heat underneath the cloak itself.
Yeah, that would be possible.
Cool. All right. Well, he'll make. So I don't think he needs to make one for Mira.
No.
I'll make one anyway. So I'll just make one for each of the people that.
Yeah, and Arvel will assist with that as well. Could I get you to roll me another Arcana check, please, Lockie?
Sure.
Get a good one. Get a good one. Don't do a one. Don't do a one.
Please, no. Come on, roll 20.
16's good. 16's fine.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is fairly simple and straightforward to make. It's not too long before you have this contraption, and basically it's the gears sort of line up and it's a chest piece that then connects to the box, because as long as you're keeping the core warm, the rest of the body's fine. You only need to worry about keeping the core warm. So yeah, it'd be a front and back sort of chest piece attachment just underneath the armor, and then when they have the armor on top and then the cloak on top of that, there's a lot of insulation there, and then yeah, just turning that is going to keep the heat. Absolutely. I think that's brilliant. That's a very, very good idea. My question is, what are the rest of you doing? Shana, you've got 3 days. Oh no, I think she's frozen.
She's frozen.
Oh no.
No,
Alright.
okay, she's gone.
Let's go to Yervith. Yervith, for 3 days. What
She's
are you
back.
doing? Oh, she's back. Okay.
I swear to God, I'm not doing this on purpose.
Shana, for 3 days, what would you be doing?
So I think she's probably going to spend a bit of time mulling over this whole patron thing with,
Yeah.
you know, how it's sort of come back up with Jen, and she's sort of like, the patron did have unbelievable powers, and she's like, you know, it's this world is sealed. You can't possibly get here. Like, you know, there's no plane of travel anymore. So she's going to try and call out and just sort of be like, hey, patron, I don't know if you're there. I kind of think you might be dead, but if you're not dead, can you tell me where Lyra is and how to get her back? I don't like not having her.
Oh boy, yeah, we're going to get back to you.
That's a whole thing.
That's
oh shit, okay.
Oh, fucking hell. Jin, for 3 days, what would you be doing? Ali, we are coming back to you. I need you to buckle up and stand by.
My downtime's a little dead in the water now that Yervith's here, because we don't need the lockpicker anymore. But my guy was still trying
We're learning
to
how to lockpick.
Yeah, exactly, with the thieves tools.
I would 100% be helping you, by the way.
Still learning.
So
Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
I
you'll
would
like
be
this.
assisting with that.
You'll find in Jim's room that he actually has like a wall of a bunch of like different lockpicks and
Yeah.
stuff.
oh yeah, because I was practicing through
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Lockie,
Yeah,
Lockie
the-
created a whole
Really?
bunch. Yeah, he made a lock wall.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah. I would want to show you.
Because we didn't have someone who could do
Yeah.
it before. Now we do,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
guess 2 can't hurt.
Yeah. Okay, Yervith, can I get you to roll a sleight of hand check as if you're doing a lockpick? Jin, could you do this exact same thing to try and learn from Yervith?
Okay.
27 Yervith, you're a good teacher.
Could
Does
I
Jin pick
use
it up?
Bardic Inspiration?
Yes, you can. You've got 3
Perfect,
days. You
let's
can have
do-
absolutely used a bardic inspiration.
Let's do that. Okay, sleight of
Oh,
hand.
just grab a long rest as well if that's fine.
Oh wow.
19. Jin,
23.
over
Oh no,
these-
sorry, 22.
over these 3 days with Yervith teaching you, you acquire the lockpick proficiency.
Oi!
You've already been training for a couple of sessions on this now. I think this is your 3rd downtime training, and you've got a master training you how to lockpick. Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely. You have gained
So
the
I
lockpick
can-
proficiency.
So I can now add thieves tools to my tools.
Yes, you are
proficiencies?
proficient. You are proficient with thieves tools.
Oh fuck yes, perfect.
Nice, man.
Absolutely.
That's handy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With that much training, absolutely, you are proficient with thieves tools.
And I guess Yervith's just sort of like, because
Yervith's
I've tried
assisting
it
and teaching.
myself, and then he's now come in as like the master,
Yeah.
and I've really like accelerated my learning.
Yeah. With Yervith spending those 3 days and you spending those 3 days just teaching yourself how to lockpick and Yervith showing you what he knows, especially with those rolls, 27 and 19. I mean, the average there is like 23. Yes. Oh no, it's even more. So
And
it's
I went
22,
to
so it'd be like
22.
24. So yes.
Mm.
By the end of that training session, you're very comfortable with lockpicks. You are proficient in thieves tools.
Cool.
Mira,
Thank you.
over those 3 days, what would you be doing?
Well, a couple of things. One is to be tutoring Barry.
Yes.
That's what she'll be mainly focusing on.
Absolutely.
Knitting a sock.
Yep.
And also looking after Varum.
Yes. Please, someone mention Varum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I assume that he's kind of not coherent. Mira doesn't
Yeah.
have any healing. She doesn't know really how to help him. But anything that he says, she will note. She's very good at making minutes. So she would have been just listening to what he says. If he picks up anything from him or can kind of get a rapport with him in any way, she would have been doing that.
So I'll get you to roll 2 things for me. Could you please roll a insight check for your time with Varum? And can I get you to also roll your spellcasting check? So D20 plus your spellcasting modifier to try and teach Barry.
Okay, so sorry, I double
That's
inside
okay.
again.
11 for the insight.
11
And for Barry.
And then for Arcana?
No, so not an Arcana check. Rolling with your spellcasting. So as if you're doing a spellcasting attack.
Ooh,
Look,
nice.
You've rolled an Arcana. We'll take the Arcana. That's fine. Natural 20 for 26. So 11 for the insight.
I'll take that. Yeah.
26. Yeah. So first off, let's do Barry. Barry proves to be a very quick study. He does seem to calm down a little bit about the whole necromancy situation, and as you focus on more elemental magic, he does seem to warm to the idea of elemental magic and what it can produce. By the end of the 3 days, Barry is able to produce a fairly decent prestidigitation, a fairly decent minor illusion, and a produce flame as well. He can produce a little flame in his hand by the end of that time.
Very good.
Keep Shana warm on the top of the deck.
Varum is, still the very same sort of things. No real change to what he's muttering. And because you're spending a lot of time training Barry, you're sort of only checking on him at meal times and things like that. You don't sort of pick up a lot from Varum. His condition doesn't seem to be improving. If anything, over time in this dark cell, he seems to be getting worse. By the last sort of day, the 3rd, 4th day, he's not even talking anymore. He's just sitting in the corner, rocking backwards and forwards, occasionally humming to himself.
I think Mira would try and, with
Take him
everyone's
for
help,
walks.
secure him to take him for walks.
Yeah, feel be bad for him.
Okay. In that case, could I get you to roll me a medicine check, please, Mira?
Oh my gosh, this is getting way too close to work.
Hey, you said what you were doing. The patterns that are familiar. 6. Is that way too close to work? I don't think so. No, we know it's not close to work now because you rolled a 6 for that. Yeah, look, you take him for walks, but he seems a bit scared of the sunlight and the open spaces, and it's very hard to know what to do with this insane dwarf. Very hard to know. You feel probably a fair bit of pity for him, I would say, as you take him back down for the final day and lock him back in the cell as he just resumes his position at the back wall, rocking backwards gently, muttering under his breath, "Need to find it, need to find it, need the mask, need the mask, need to find it, need the mask."
Well, something might come up, Varum, you never know.
Need the mask, need the masks, need to find it, need to find it, need the mask.
Yes, okay. Okay, you have more food. Mira will just keep feeding him.
Unlimited power. No, he doesn't say that. Lockie, as you and Arvel finish off your Arcane Lance, it looks okay. As you sort of take a step back and look at it, it's a far cry from the very intricate, beautiful schematics that you drew. There's a fair bit of rope holding sections on that you couldn't quite find ways to attach properly. Eventually, you guys sort of got a bit sick of all these careful, intricate rivets, and you just resorted to just hammering shit in quicker and easier. It's just a prototype anyway. It doesn't need to look good, just needs to work. And on that last day, you begin bringing it up to the top deck. As you bring it onto the top deck and begin affixing it to the front, you're putting it into position, like locking it down, tying it on. Arvel sort of steps back as you finish up the final thing and goes, "Right, are we ready for a test fire?"
Oh no.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
We did double tie those knots, right? Yes, I did. I absolutely did. It should be fine. Yes. Okay. I think I'll give it a go.
Okay, let's do
Great, this
this.
should be the tester.
I ready shield.
Okay.
So do I.
You
I'm
guys.
ready to
Okay.
Barry's
jump
behind
out of
me.
the way.
My question is, without the knowledge of it being a natural one, would your characters have done this, or would you be trusting Lockie? As Lockie has just that morning presented you with this intricate piece of chess work that, as you rotate a tiny lever, keeps you warm.
No, Yervith is pretty skeptical.
Oh,
Okay.
that was the laser.
He
No.
would be
Yervith
to-
never believed in Lockie, so yeah, he's
Oh,
shield's
well,
ready.
no, it's more so it's more so that he's skeptical of like
Technology.
not magic per se. Or yeah, technology probably.
Technology, yeah.
Being a woodsman and
Yeah.
being someone who spends a lot of time in the forest, he's kind of like.
I mean,
There's
this
wood in this.
newfangled technomancy. I want no part of it, do you hear me? No part at all.
You
Yeah.
got this big old cannon on here. We've got an arrow. It's just as good.
Shooting their newfangled lasers up in the sky. Since when is an arrow too good for them, huh?
Yeah.
That's Yervith in a nutshell. Yeah, Lockie, you
That's- yeah.
are you going to use a first level, second level, third level spell slot? What are you going to power in?
Let me see. I think we should probably start it off, slow.
Maximum
Just do
power,
that.
right? Oh, yeah, slow, yes. Sorry, yes.
Yes, we'll go to maximum power in a moment. I just want to see, just proof of concept kind of.
All right, 33% power then.
33? Well, sure. Okay, I will try and put I think a first level magic missile should do it.
Fantastic. Can you please roll me a D100?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
I'm going to let you know right now, don't roll below a 10.
I thought you randomized the table.
Please, please, please.
64.
64. For percentages, Ali, there's no point. So for percentages of things happening, there's no point randomizing it because then it's just impossible for me to keep a track of it. But for random things where I've actually got 100 different options, yeah, I randomize it. But for a percentage thing, I want to know, is there a 10% chance this will explode, for example? So... Oh god, it's doing that thing again. It's horrifying. Do you know what it sounded? It sounded like.
It's like cellophane. Like rubbing it together.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the sound the Furbies make when they turn into gremlins, but that's good too.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
64. Lockie, as you power this in, you hear this. Nothing happens. It just starts glowing with this energy, and then very slowly it begins to shake ever so slightly.
Oh dear. Did we the release hat?
Is it supposed to do that, Lockie?
Yes,
It's
it's just
supposed
powering up. Lockie, what's going on?
It was supposed to take off. Like I pressed the release button. It's
You wanna
not releasing.
You want to try lifting it up, and if you lift up the main
No,
unit,
wait. I don't know if we should move it anymore. This is a hot thing now.
we can't just leave it there. Look, it's shaking even worse.
Yes, I know we can't do it. Jeez. Who's got to dispel magic? Mira,
Yes?
can you dispel magic?
No.
Shit.
You just need to figure out a way to release it.
Yeah. Yes,
Did
you're
you
absolutely
pull-
right.
Did you pull the trigger, Lockie?
I did. See?
As you start hammering it. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Thank you, Michael. Brilliant. I wasn't sure what you'd do. I was like, the third time you press the trigger, you're like, I was like, excellent, thank you. The third time you press the trigger, the device fires. The top section fires backwards, having not been properly affixed, pushing you backwards towards the rear of the ship. As the Arcane Lance is not locked down. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, please, Lockie. It's still doing it. What is that?
Now that you said it about a Furby, that's all I can hear now.
That's all you can hear now. Apologies.
Yeah.
20,
Ooh.
Lockie. As this thing starts firing you backwards, you push yourself down and push it up, causing it to fire upwards and you to be pushed down into the ship. You don't take any damage, but you watch as the whole top section of the Arcane Lance just fires off into the blue and disappears over the back of the ship. Arvel sort of looks and goes, yes, that was not supposed to happen.
I needed that part.
That. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh.
Leosin lifts his head up from behind the steering wheel where he'd ducked to avoid being smashed by this thing. Goes, Could you please warn me next time you're going to fire things off the deck of my fucking ship?
Yes. I'm going to look at
Oh, thank you, Lockie. Great. Fantastic, thanks.
Off the back of the ship. And what happened when it landed?
Oh no.
You guys rush to the edge of the ship and look over the blue ocean below. This like glint of silver every so often dropping down. And then this large dark mouth comes up out of the ocean. No.
Oh.
No, that doesn't happen. I'm kidding.
I was just about to say if Lyra was still here, she could go get it, but yeah.
That sucks, man.
Yeah. Well, back to the drawing board, I suppose.
Feels bad, man.
That's rough, buddy.
Maybe you should build.
To the moon.
Wrong stream. We're not doing Avatar tonight. Save it for Tuesdays.
I mean, that said, it got an impressive height.
Just need to get it a bit, fixed better.
I wonder if you could make a cannon that if you pointed it straight down and fired it with enough force, you could break the hold that the planet has on us.
Lockie?
Yes.
But,
Not there.
that doesn't sound good. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Fairly confident that's the astral space, Lockie. There's no air there. Well, I mean, that doesn't bother you. Sorry, what am I saying? Carry on.
I mean, it bothers literally everyone else in the world. So,
Can I make a request? Sorry, no, the guy. Can I make a request, please, Lockie? Can you not strap that to the airship, that device that you're describing?
yeah, that would blow a hole.
I won't strap that one to the airship. This would be a separate device in and of itself. But...
Can you not launch that from the deck of the airship, Lockie?
Oh, also, no, that would not be safe. This wouldn't be a very good place to begin that. It's not very stable.
My driving's fine. What are you saying?
Oh, no, your driving is absolutely wonderful, but if we push down, you see, there's not much pushing back up except the ship itself. If I were to do this, I would do it on a platform of some sort.
I think what Leosin is trying to say is don't blow any holes in the ship.
Yes, please. That'd be great, thanks.
I will try not to. But look, I'll put that aside. That's for another day. I think I need to go back and re-look at my draft again.
Alrighty.
Maybe you should just make it a big bow. Yeah. Sounds good.
Amazing.
That's great.
Oh god. Probably Shana, that's the night where you're like, let's see if I can contact my patron. As you head downstairs to the deck of the ship as evening falls, the moons rise above the horizon. You head downstairs and into your cabin. The rest of you guys are asleep. Arvel's taking the shift of driving the airship tonight. And as you sort of sit there, would you be sort of cross-legged meditating? Sorry. Would you be cross-snake-tailed, like just wrapped up and coiled, and then in the center of your like snake tail?
Probably in like a loose sort of figure of eight coil, like not tucked up too much for.
Do you have your tail in your mouth
like...
and you're like?
No.
Okay.
But like it might be like just over her hip, like it's sort of. She's leaning on her own coils, like she's comfy, she's not sort of sitting in any meditative pose.
Yeah. So you're not going to become an Ouroboros, you're just going to... Or Ouroboros, sorry. Yeah. Okay. And what was it you said to your patron?
I believe you might be dead, but if you're not dead and you are in fact out there, do you know where Lyra is, and can you help me get her back? That'd be greatly appreciated.
Can I get you to please roll me a wisdom saving throw, Shana?
Oh shit.
Okay. Wait, no. Is it a magical spell, a magical effect, and or a spell?
It's. I'm basically getting you to roll to see if your contact is heard. So it's not something affecting you. It's more I want to see what your effect has. Okay, 12. 12's a pass. 12 is a just pass. DC was 12. For a while, you hear nothing. You feel nothing. No connection to your patron. And as you sort of open your eyes and begin to give up you notice your shadow begins to warp and flicker a little bit. And then before too long, it begins to stretch up onto the wall. And then 2 eyes open up in your shadow. And as it steps out from the wall, it takes on this male elven appearance. Long dark hair, black eyes, dressed in these long flowing robes that slowly leak shadow. Shana, it's been a while, hasn't it? How have you been doing?
Well, as you may or may not know, I have been traveling with another for 600 years, then I was trapped in a jam, and now I'm trapped in a UNT form. So
Yes,
how do you think
yes.
it's going?
I saw you yesterday, looking very interesting.
You saw me yesterday.
Oh yes, on the deck of the ship. And the day before that, and the day before that. Only the last couple of days, of course. Very interesting. Serpentine body rather suits you, you little snake, doesn't it?
Yes, well, perhaps I could have found another nice dark hole to go hide in, huh?
Oh, maybe you could have found a body to parasitize. Oh, sorry, you've already done that. How's that working out for you?
I was invited in after somebody destroyed the entire plane on which I was living, was left corporealless form, and then was gratefully taken in by someone who actually cared.
You're not still going on about that, are you? That was over 800 years ago. Grow up.
The entire plane is fucking gone!
And you're blaming me for that? Hardly my
Well,
fault.
yes, really.
I'm
You did not
sorry.
have a major part to play in that.
I'm sorry, but when you give someone like me the keys to the kingdom, you've got to expect a certain result, don't you? I just wanted to have a bit of fun, see what I could do, see how far something would bend. And now I know. There is a point where things break, even planes of existence. I've learned from my mistakes, and I've managed my most recent plane quite well for the last couple hundred years.
Most recent plane, you don't mean fucking here, do you?
Oh no. But I've got my eyes set on this, what do you call it? Nostea? Very interesting. No, dear, I've been playing around with, well, a bit of a shadow plane, I might say. Not quite real.
Does it keep the same namesake?
Oh no. I like to call it the Shadowfell. My fall from grace, locked into this shadow of my previous realm. I like it. What do you think? Appropriate, no?
I mean, you have a form now. You're not just a gaseous dark cloud with
No,
scary
I've
fucking eyes.
I've had to update, dear. People don't react the same way as they used to. Gotta move with the times. Nowadays, it's all about appearances. Back then, I was just trying to scare people. Doesn't quite work, fear. Not like that, anyway. What the best fear is the things people create themselves, the fears they have. I can't create anything more scary than their own minds can, so why bother? I prefer to take a much more pleasant approach nowadays.
So, Il Shatar, has he joined you?
No, unfortunately, he suffered a rather nasty fate. The hands of the illithid Elderbrain, would you believe?
He's so fucked.
Yes. I have been trying my best to distract those creepy tentacle mouths for quite some time. You know, they've got their eyes on this place too. Ever since the giants disappeared. All that energy at once. Gosh. A whole realm of sentient beings, those juicy brains. So really, you should be thanking me.
Hey, thank you. Oh my god.
Much better. See, was that so hard? Now, what a coincidence that you're on the same ship as one of my other little acolytes. What do you make of that? It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
He is with you.
Oh yes, Jin's been mine for a long time. Not quite as long as you have, of course, but a bit of time nonetheless. And he's taken that step you never could. Did you like his blade? Bit jealous, were we? Is that why you called out to dear old Varys?
I called out to Varys, dear old.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't recognize that new name, do you? Yes, Varys Nightshade. I use that title now when I'm talking to the creatures of this plane. The Dreaming Dark was all a bit sort of sinister. I find this much better. Much more relatable, don't you think?
Well then, the relatable Varys. Can you relate to this? I wish to have my other half of my soul reunited. I'm not happy that it's gone.
Oh dear. Well, you really shouldn't have spoken to Diderus then, should you? I mean, you did know the risk. Well, Lyra did anyway, talking to him. This is what you get when you mess with that old lich. Surely you recognize the danger. You could have warned her.
I don't actually know what to say about that. I honestly thought he was some cool old fucking wizard that had
Then you have
strange
lost
ass
your
ghost
touch, my dear. You have well and truly lost your touch if you couldn't recognize him for the danger that he was. Surely you should know to beware anyone who claims to see the future.
Well, now that you bring that up, saying that, you also, claim that you knew somebody that could point me in the right direction, and look where that landed me.
Hardly my fault, my dear. If you don't follow my directions to the letter, I can't be held accountable for what happens. Consequences, remember?
Can bring up that same consequences, hence you being without your original plane.
Oh no, that plane was holding me back. This one looks far more to my liking. It begins growing and filling the room. Yes, I can really find myself stretching out here. Lots of opportunities for someone to get in on the ground level, make some real changes. This is an investment opportunity, and you're going to be my buyer. You're going to help me in. After all, you want Lyra back, correct?
Well, true that, but...
And as you
she
know,
would not
my
be-
knowledge of planar travel is unrivaled. So, bit of quid pro quo then, my friend Shana. You work for me, I do a bit of work for you. You do everything that I say, I give you a little bit of power, pew pew. Just like the old days, hey?
Let me be very honest about one particular thing.
Please, you know how I value honesty.
You know my values and my lack thereof, and the fact that I would do pretty much anything to get what I want.
As I said, your
Unfortunately-
form finally suits your personality, my dear.
But unfortunately, my good friend does not see eye to eye, and I will not do anything to disgrace her face. Are we clear?
You want to keep Lyra out of the muck?
To keep her so that she can wake up in the morning and not feel like she's brought about the end of her plane. I know how much that sucks.
Yes, I think we can come to some arrangement. So Lyra doesn't have to feel responsible for what happens here. Is that what you want? Or you want her to not have a reason to feel responsible, is that it? I'm sorry, Ellie, we can't quite hear you. I think your noise
God.
cancellation's kicking in
God
again.
damn it! All I care is I care about her deeply, and I will not do anything to bring her potential harm. She's already
Okay.
spent long enough locked away.
Easy enough. Lyra's freedom, Lyra's safety. Agreed?
And the safety of this plane.
I promise to keep it as safe as houses.
As safe? What does that even mean? That makes no sense. Houses are not safe. They can burn down.
Oh, can they?
Crumble into
I
ash.
always thought that expression was referring to the fact that a house is not a structure, it's a home that you carry inside your heart.
It's even less safe. That can be shattered in 2 seconds flat.
Well, then we agree.
You know it as well as I.
Sounds like we agree completely then.
Lyra will be safe, and this plane and this world of Nostea that she calls home will be safe.
Shana, you don't have what you think you have to make that demand of me. You do know that at any point, and he reaches forward and his shadow hand goes around your throat and you are unable to breathe. You do know that at any point I could just snuff you out, right? You're under my power. You made promises. Now it's time to deliver. I, in my beneficence... Oh, sorry. And he lets go. I, in my beneficence, am willing to spare Lyra. I see you have a bit of a soft spot for her, and I love a fairy tale ending. So yes, I am willing to allow and accommodate for Lyra's safety, even beyond once you get her back. I think we can have a bit of an arrangement to keep Lyra safe in perpetuity. How does that sound? But this whole realm, all these people, you've got to be joking, Shana. You have no power here.
I need to be honest with you again. You know you love honesty.
Oh, yes.
If these people that she calls friends and the world that she calls home isn't here when she comes back, she's lost everything. If she loses this, it's not going to be worth her coming back.
Shana, you think so little of me. I've learned so much from my time in the Shadowfell. I don't bend things as much to break them anymore. I promise that what you're thinking I'm going to do is a lot worse than what I'm actually planning. I don't have grand plans to break this world, to destroy it. All I want is access to it. And access to the giant magic. That's all I want. Once I have that, I'll be gone. Fair?
Yeah.
What a deal. Well then, shall we shake on it?
I'm not sure if I have much choice in the matter. And she shakes on it.
Shana, you've never had any choice in this relationship. He reaches out,
No.
shakes your hand. You watch as your shadow gets pulled up and flows back down into you as he disappears. As you look on your hand, you see a single black spot in the center of your palm. It slowly fades away to nothing.
I'm glad it's not staying put, you asshole!
Two eyes open up in the shadow of your head on the floor. It's like basically just hollow spots in the shadow, and then a mouth opens. That could be arranged.
Fuck yourself like the other plane.
Well then, I see we have ourselves a bit of friction. Tell you what, you go without eyes for a day, and you and I can have another chat. How about that? And as he clicks, you watch as your vision begins to dim and go dark, and you cannot see, you are blind.
Oh,
I'm losing blind.
shit.
So sorry.
Fine, I'm sorry I called you an asshole.
Like you mean it, please.
Like this. Oh, Varys, I am so sorry I insulted you for destroying my plane and now taking my eyes.
Shana,
But
I'll
it
have your
was a
hearing.
true-
I'll have your hearing next. You know I will.
Jeez.
Fine.
Very well. But remember, as my pawn, you do best to be seen and not heard insulting me. I have grown quite a bit in power since we last spoke. I'd be very careful how you treat me heading forwards. And if you could keep your association with me secret from Jin for the moment, that would be much appreciated. I'm hoping that I can have you two working in tandem, but on slightly different tasks heading forwards. And then we'll bring you two together, a bit of reunion of the team at the very end. How does that sound?
As you want.
Fantastic. Well then, I suggest you keep your mouth shut about me for the moment. Could I please have a wisdom saving throw?
Is it a magical effect?
It is a magical effect. He's casting the suggestion spell.
14?
No.
14's not enough. You
No.
feel a compulsion. You feel a compulsion to not speak of him to Jin. An overruling compulsion. Excellent. We'll chat later. Ta-ta. And then the eyes close and the mouth closes back on your shadow, and it's just your shadow once again. And
I remembered why I was glad I thought he was dead.
oh,
Jeez.
I had some
She
fun
doesn't say
writing
that
that.
out loud. She just thinks it.
Juicy.
As you emerge and come up the next morning, you can see below you the sea has started to turn into these vast fields of ice, this vast frozen plain. And as the ocean sort of begins turning the ship towards the west and hugging the western coast of the ice floe, a few hours later in the distance, you can see a small speck in the ocean in front of these vast plains of ice. I think that might be the Orc village. I'm going to start bringing us down. If we've got any things we need to trade, have a chat with, I think we'll see what we can learn from the floating city. I believe this one's called Drifthaven, from memory. Let me consult the... Yes, Drifthaven. Try and dock us in the water. We'll spend a day or two here, perhaps, and then head out of the ice. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
Excellent. I'm going to start bringing us down. It's going to start getting quite cold, especially when I land the ship. Obviously, the environmental protection that the ship contains around us, the shell that allows us to breathe up in the air, is keeping us quite warm. But once I land the ship in the ocean, that will disappear. So make sure you've got Lockie's devices and keep them charged.
Yep.
What are you calling them, by the way, Lockie? Have you thought of a name for them?
Oh, Owen in the name. Oh dear.
I've just been calling it Patent Office 62175.
Exactly. I remember
Patent
it.
application 77345.
Lockie's grind has popped into mind, but that sounds way too dirty.
Lockie's grind. Amazing. All right. Well, if chat wants to give us suggestions for what these little chat can name it, we'll give it to chat. Yeah. As the ship begins heading down towards the surface of the water and gets closer and closer and closer, you see a large city on the surface of the water begin to come into view. And before too long, you can see, it's this enormous, all sort of single, double-story buildings splayed out of this vast array of pontoons. Essentially, this massive floating series of buildings, all interconnected with walkways. Real eclectic jumble, all sorts of different styles, very different approaches to construction. It looks like it's been constructed over a number of decades. All different architects. It's very eclectic. The vast majority of the people on this raft seem to be the Maloran orcs, the orcs who follow Melora, the goddess of the wilds. Basically, half orcs for those who play D&D, normal 5th edition. But we've homebrewed them so they're a little bit different. So there's the wild orcs and the Maloran orcs. Or the Grumush orcs, I should say. The wild orcs, the Grumush orcs. As the ship begins lowering and landing, you can actually see there's another airship docked in the water as well. This one seems to be a much smaller little brig, sort of locked in place as well, and you can see there's a couple of people moving about on the surface. Mostly looks to be halflings, and you suspect this is some sort of trading vessel. As you can see, there's large barrels all over the deck of the ship, and they're taking things up and down a gangway. But the rest of the pontoons around the outer edge of the city are just filled with boats of all various shapes and sizes. The vast majority are these massive canoes, essentially almost like hydrofoils made of wood, connecting up to these large wooden bases that then have structures built on top of them. These massive ocean-going canoes that look like they could sail vast distances, carry people, carry goods, and these seem to be the main sort of devices and main sort of vehicles that the Maloran orcs use to get around the ocean. As you land and dock up in one of the smaller docks, you can see a half-orc woman, one of these Maloran orc females, sort of step forward and begin walking down the edge towards you guys, giving you a bit of a brief wave as she sort of walks down along the gangplank. And as the ship docks and Grisha comes up and drops down the gangplank, she goes, "Right, well, these are my people. I'm going to go have a bit of time off, eh, boss?" Yes, sure. Everyone may have some time off ship. Before you look, stop, before you go, as they all begin like rushing towards the Corvin, like flapping wildly, trying to get off the boat. Someone needs to stow the decks, not it. Arvel very quickly like puts his finger on his nose. Grisha's very quick, and Corvin sort of looks and goes, "Not it," but is the last one, and goes,
Oh.
No.
"Fuck,
Oh.
you wee little bugger! I'm gonna smite you, piece of shit." Yes, that's quite enough of that, Corvin. Thank you. If you could please stow the ropes, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, everybody. Timon, I'll speak to the dockhand, and I'll arrange us some passage. Make sure we've got a bit of time here to lock in. I'm going to take the environmental shields down now. It's going to get a bit brisk. And as Leosin powers down the ship, immediately your breath begins steaming in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately becomes quite cold.
Oh.
The half-orc on the dock sort of waves and goes, "Right, welcome. Welcome to Drifthaven. How can I be of assistance? How long are you staying here?"
Not long, just to pick up some supplies.
Just a few days, I think.
Fantastic. Well, you find no fairer city full of friendly faces than the Drifthaven. I'm Batara. Lovely to meet you.
My lord.
Sorry.
Hello there.
Hi, Katara. Is it always this cold here?
It is always this cold in Drifthaven. Unfortunately, over time, we've been pushed closer and closer to the Sea of Moving Ice, and we haven't yet found a solution to dragging the city away.
Sounds like a problem that could be fixed with a global solution, maybe.
A global solution? Aye, what are you thinking?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe if some of the bigger countries in Nox and Furt pitched in.
Big city people don't give two shites about us out here on the ocean. Never mind that all their fish and produce comes from the sea. Nay, there's no respect in those places for these people. We've had to go it our own for quite a long time. Don't make me laugh, people in the city.
Well, yes. It sounds about right. Where's...
I was just going to ask where the nearest tavern is.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Yes, mix it local together. That's right. Yes.
Aye, there's a few. There's the captain's quarters, which is just down the main road in town. Quite a good place if you're looking to stay, and travellers often frequent it. I recommend it as a good place to stay. Otherwise, there's the Leaky Tub. Less ideal, more of a local drinking hole, shall we say.
Leaky Tub sounds good.
Leaky tub.
So,
No accommodation there, unfortunately. Yeah.
Owen, would you say there's like a significant number of like sailors and all that here?
Yes, lots and lots of sailors. This orc you're talking to, Batara, definitely seems to be a sailor as well. She's very tall, has the very small tusks coming out the bottom. Her hair's been braided back into a series of almost like pirate braids down the back of her neck.
Oh,
And she's wearing a little
I love that
sea
you just said
captain's
that.
hat. Wearing a little captain's hat. There's a couple of tattoos across her body. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the way orcs work in Nostea, very similar to the Polynesian cultures, they have very intricate tattoos across their whole body that depict events of their life and various aspects of their mythology. And you can often tell much of an orc story by the tattoos that they have. And this one, Batara, despite being dressed in some big furs, you can see her sleeves are bare, her arms are bare. She has a sort of a sleeveless vest that's quite furry. And yeah, there are a series of tattoos all down her arm. And up her left arm, you can see a massive octopus squid-looking creature pulling a ship apart, and a very small orc figure jamming a harpoon into one of its tentacles.
Would I hazard to guess then that there would be like some sort of tattoo parlor in this city?
100%.
Yep.
If you've ever interacted with orcs before, yes, you know the tattoos are a very important part of their culture. There would be a tattoo parlor here in the city. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Cool. So, Jin's gonna disappear for a second. You're gonna hear the rummaging of a bag. You hear like something fall on the ground, like with a thunk, and then coming out from sort of out of these rooms here, you're gonna hear
Swabby Seabeard, isn't it? Swabby motherfucking Seabeard. Captain
And
Swabby
he's
Seabeard.
gonna, you're gonna hear the thunk
Of the wooden leg.
of a peg leg. Yar, how we be?
Oh, I should have seen this coming. I'm so sorry, everybody.
He's wearing his hat. He's got his beard. Remember
Yeah.
what's in the beard? There's
Yeah.
like little crustaceans and other
Yeah.
little things there. Because I can be a living and breathing. Like I can have these little,
Yeah.
like little hermit crabs and stuff in
Yeah.
my beard. And Yar, and happy to make your acquaintance, matey. I am Captain Swabby Seabeard.
Captain
At your
Swabby.
service.
Captain Swabby Seabeard. Pleasure to meet you. Batara Lig. She doffs her hat to you.
I take my hat off, and under my hat is just a scruff of hair with like potentially like
And a
some fish
seagull.
bones or something. Yeah, sure, there's a seagull. Perfect, even better. There's a
Oh
seagull
my
that's
God.
under my hat.
Looks up blinking as that goes back on his like,
Do it.
I'm just gonna
Perfect.
stage whispers and go to like Mira and go. I'm glad he's taking some steam off. The events of the ship.
I love.
Got to him a little bit. I think.
I will say, Jin, something very unusual. The tattoo of your sword does not go
Oh my
away.
god. Does it look like a cutlass though?
No, it does not change,
Damn it!
unfortunately. I wish, but unfortunately,
so
I've got here the tattoo does not change.
Shit. Can I disguise self to make the sword look like?
Yes, of course you can. So it's a
Alright,
cutlass.
good. If we ever get into that, we'll
Okay. Okay. Right, so
Perfect.
I'm assuming by the looks of you, it's your first time here in Drifthaven, Captain Swabby Seabeard.
Yar, to these here parts I don't come often, but glad to be on, solid ground. Yar.
It's our first time.
She looks as a bit of swell comes and the entire city moves up in the swell and then moves back down again as everything shifts. She goes, aye, solid ground, eh?
Solid ground, matey.
Well, if you're looking for
Yar,
a
let's
place,
go to the leaky tub.
if you're looking for a place to freshen up and wash the salt and crustaceans from your beards, aye, the captain's quarters are the place to go.
He sort of looks puzzled at that. He's a
Tell you
method
what.
actor.
I tell you what, first time here in Drifthaven, I'll get my colleague. They can take care of the ship. Lyra goes, yes, that'd be great. Yes, thank you. I was about to ask about birthing fees. I'll let my colleague take care of that bookworm. Why don't, I'm kicking off in a few hours, eh? Why don't we take an early finish? You can hang out with me. I'll take you around the city, give you a bit of a tour, and you can buy me some drinks.
I sort of look at the others. I sort of nod and go, Yar, sounds like a plan.
Right, does that sound okay?
Mind
Yar,
if
let's
I
go. Let's get rowdy. Let's go.
Very weird
Yar.
question.
Aye.
So this island is literally floating. I felt the swell go and the entire island just went wee!
Oh,
But-
there's no solid land here, lass. It's not an island. This is a collection of pontoons, rafts that have all been hitched together to make a floating city. Have you never
So you
been on a
mentioned-
floating city?
No, it's a long story, but so question, right? So if it is essentially a giant raft, a giant
Aye.
boat, and you're having a problem with the city drifting closer and closer to the ice,
Aye.
has anyone tried making a giant propeller and powering the city back towards warmer waters?
Lass, have you seen how big this place is?
Be a really big propeller!
All
I
right,
don't
you
know,
can
we got-
you get to work on that. We'll go have a drink. You get the propeller sorted. How does that sound?
We have this guy. And I point at Lucky, and I'm like, oh, he's pretty smart. Might be able to figure something out.
I'm not a propeller, but I could possibly.
That's not what I meant, Lucky. I meant you could make one. That's what you do. You make things.
Oh, I can make. I mean, it's theoretically
This
possible.
is
of course.
your thing. You loved it.
Like multiple large ones at strategic points in the city.
Absolutely. How big is the city?
Look at the city
Hey.
engineering of this city.
It's a
truly
number of
amazing, Lucky.
it's a number of kilometers across. It's quite a large city. As you can see, we cannot build up. We can only build outwards. If we build up too high, anything too heavy begins to sink and drag the rest of the city down with it. We're limited to building outwards.
Doesn't sound impossible. You did work on a sky city.
Yes, I worked on a problem a bit similar to this, but you didn't have to think about the viscosity of the water. What
Right.
are the buoyancy either? There's nothing keeping it up except the buoyant forces, but
Oh, and the blessing of the goddess
Here we go.
Melora.
It's
largish.
gonna be like this for hours. Perfect.
Yeah, he is. If you
What about those
got large-ish
drinks?
placed in the strategic
yes.
sections of the city, you could slowly.
She walks up to you, Lockie, and puts a hand on your face. Right, so, drinks.
Drinks.
Yar, let's get going.
Look,
There's no use telling me this, lad. It's all going over me head. If you want to talk to some people, or if you want to chat to the chief, you can line up, get an audience with him, and you suggest these grand ideas that you city folk have, and he will sit and listen politely, and then he will tell you, absolutely not. He's a traditionalist. If the goddess Melora wills the city to not crash into the ice, then the goddess Melora will shift it. Hey,
I see. this is not just a engineering issue, Lockie. This is a socio-political one.
Aye, a political issue. That's the word. Politics.
Oh,
Aye,
that's perfect. The Mira then.
Or actually, you know what? Lockie would be great. He was so good last time. I think
I do have experience. I went and I told the truth.
You did.
Did you say
And
last?
Well, then you're going to
Well,
be
This
you're going
happened
to be a right
before.
bit shite at politics, telling the truth. That's not how politics works, mate.
I told the right truth, and you should have seen the effect that it had.
You should
I
have
turned
seen
the whole
effect
place
it
upside
had.
down.
Maybe we should talk and walk.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
I assumed you were.
Oh,
I haven't had a decent drink in 3 months.
Aye, give me a second.
No, yeah.
Oh
Growl!
yeah, Yervith, this is your first. This is
Yeah.
Yervith's first time in
Yes.
civilization in a very long time.
Yes, I'm slightly uncomfortable at this entire situation, but
This is a
Lure
good
of a
intro
drink
city
is-
for you.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of cities at the best of times, let alone a floating city.
Well, you're
on the
kind of in a
water.
good position here, Yervith, because there's nothing bigger than like a large house. Nothing can be bigger because of the
Oh,
way
that's-
the city is set up.
Oh, that's
So
okay.
it's all just imagine if Venice was made out of wood, and everything was limited to 1 or 2 stories. The entire city is just a series of pontoons and rafts with buildings on them that have just been linked together by gangways and walkways.
It's not walled, is it?
No, God, no.
Venice
There,
was-
no. Yervith, so you would know that the orcs of the sea, the sea orcs, worship the goddess Melora, the goddess of the wilds. They
I'm
they
fine with
abhor city walls. They abhor blocking the sky. It's all about being connected to nature.
I love it then. Yep.
I would say that like if you were going to enjoy a city, one of the
This is the
orcish
one.
floating cities would be where you would enjoy. Absolutely.
As we start walking forward anyway, Swabby Seabeard will put an arm around Yervith and go, "Arr, we have good fun tonight, matey. Don't worry about nothing."
Sounds good.
Should definitely
you-
celebrate.
Forward to it.
You'll want to be careful with your peg leg there, Swabby. Some of the gangplanks have bits of gaps in them. Just be careful where you put your peg down, hey? Wouldn't want
Why
to
do
have
you
your...
say that?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah. Make sure you don't.
I
get
nearly
stuck in the-
failed.
Oh.
I rolled a 25 in acrobatics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm a lot more better than I thought it would be.
As you go to step forwards and like you slide forwards on a crack, and rather than dropping into it, the slipperiness moves you forwards and you're able to catch your footing before you get your peg leg stuck in one of the gaps between the boards.
Perfect.
Apologies. I'll let you be. You know what you're doing. Right, come follow me.
I was-
Growl! And then
There
after
was
a
the
few
part
moments...
of me that was actually hoping for a lower acrobatics, so I could have
That's
just
all right.
explained it.
That's alright.
One, he falls through the planks into the water. You have to go
Giant
different-
mouth comes up.
Oh, fuck.
Somebody's mentioned that giant mouth. This is starting to worry me. Anyway.
After a few... Don't worry about it, man. Insight check! So after a few moments, she goes out, Growl! Another half-orc begins sort of emerging out, dressed in basically just pants. Very, very short shorts, made of some sort of seal skin with fur. Tattoos across his body showing probably himself doing various muscular poses, punching an eel. There's another one of him, like, picking up a whale and holding it.
What the
All
fuck?
sorts of these feats of great strength. And as he walks out, he's like, a really stocky sort of walk, really like owning the gangway as he walks in. He goes, "Yeah, what be up, man? Groll, I was hoping you could help this gentleman with their skyship. If you could work out the berthing fees." "Yeah, I could do that." "Great, thanks, Groll. If you could do it now, that'd be great." Where are you going?" I'm going to be taking this lot to Tavern. Take them around."
He reminds me of trolls from Warcraft 2.
Yeah.
Who you
What do you want me kill? That's
He sounds
not
like
intentional. Not intentional, man. I can take a look.
So
I'll take
close.
care of the birthing fees. You don't need to worry about a thing. I got care of the birthing fees. Yeah, girl, that's what I asked you to do. Have you been... She sort of walks over and starts sniffing. "Oh, you've been fucking drinking kelp sap again." Yeah. What of it? What of it? Do you know what that does to your head? Go and deal with the birthing fees. I will fucking fire you. Yeah, too right. Yeah. No more. Begins walking over to Leosin. Leosin's like, "Yeah, so about the birthing fees. Yeah, man. How much you want to pay?" Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? How much do I want to pay? Yeah, how much you want to pay? A gold sounds very fair, don't you think, my good sir? Yeah, that sounds good, man. That sounds good. Yeah, too right. Yeah, too.
Forward to our guide, and it's just sort of like, so, kelp sap, what is this, and where can we find it? That looks like fun.
What's up with that, huh?
As you say that, Batara sort of gives you a look and goes, you wouldn't be seeing that if you knew what it was. Kelp sap's a very pretty name. Well, it's from a seaweed. Claire got it.
God.
I'm waiting for the penny to drop for the rest of you.
No, I got it.
Hey, there we go. They're getting it now. Natural one. Really? Come on, that was good. Come on. For an improvised joke.
It's pretty good.
I had to come up with the name of a fantasy drug in that moment. So I was like, yeah, kelp sap. And then I was like, no, there's a joke there. Yeah, so, sorry.
But I must say, it looks much like the moonweed that I used to have as a girl a long time ago back in the forests.
Whoa.
I've not heard of moonweed, but I'll tell you right now, kelp sap is something to be best avoided if you plan on keeping your hit. Alcohol's a much safer bet here, lass. Don't get mixed up in the kelp sap. Stuff is... it's really bad. Trust me. Trust me, I'm a liberal person. I will try anything. But kelp sap is the limit. Trust me on that. You're gonna promise me you're not gonna go seeking it out?
Oh no, I wouldn't.
Oh, I
had you pegged for a
Probably
square.
wouldn't seek it out. Because that
clear
was
ahead as
little-
possible.
I wouldn't seek it out.
Okay. And if someone were to offer it to you, what do we say?
Yes.
No.
No.
Lockie, no!
You had a 50-50 guess there, son. You goofed.
Lockie, I'm not even sure your robotic parts can...
It's all good.
How does that work?
He literally doesn't have lungs. He'll be
yeah.
fine.
I was gonna say.
It's not something you breathe, lass. It's you wipe it around the inside of your gums.
I don't have any guns.
Snooze?
What?
That's true.
Never mind.
Aye. Enough
Ignore
about
me,
that.
ignore me.
Enough about a dark topic. Come with me. I'll take you for a quick tour of the city, and then we'll take you to the captain's quarters. Or did you want to go to the leaky tub?
Yar to the leaky tub.
Whatever your preference is, you're local. I'll take
I prefer to drink my beer and not have it spilled across my face, so I generally prefer the captain's quarters. But if you're looking for a rowdy place to get a real sense of the spirit of the sea, and drink the spirits of the sea, leaky tub's gonna be where you're at.
Captain's
Well,
quarters tonight.
Where would you like to go, Yervith? This is
Oh,
your celebration about being
wow.
back in town.
Well, yes. Well,
I feel like a captain.
Haha.
Where can I get a hat?
Captain's
Not made of goblin
quarters.
skin, preferably. Do you have any Yuan-Ti skin hats? Sorry, Sean.
Yeah. Sorry, no offense. Captain's quarters sounds nice for first evening, and then perhaps we'll kick it up a notch tomorrow with the leaky tub.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Keep party going.
Right, I better take you around then.
Popcorn.
Landlubbers. And with that, Batara will take you for a little tour of the city. She leads you through vast areas of trading docks, which are set up essentially like market stalls. And you can see here that a number of the merchants selling seafood, rather than having things on display, they have these series of nets and baskets set up in the water. And then when people approach, they begin winding a winch, and you watch as this basket emerges from the sea with all of their fresh
cool.
fish, fresh crustaceans, things like that in these baskets. People come, go, yeah, I'd like to have that lobster, please. Yeah, I'd see that. And then lower it back down again, and you see the basket go back into the ocean.
So
Never
fresh.
kept out of the sea for more than sort of 30, 40 seconds. They're very quick. Like when they bring it up, they're essentially like getting ready to let go and then have it put back down in the ocean again. For fresh fruit and vegetables, this sort of seems to be where the city is failing a little bit. There's one stall selling some very sad-looking cabbages. An older grizzled man, human, on the decks of the dock, sort of looking like it is very sad cabbage, and you can see that some of them are so limp. He's like, They told me I should have preserved them. I didn't listen. My cabbages. As you guys sort of walk past. But yeah, in terms of fresh seafood, bountiful. And what you also notice very quickly as well is that there seems to be large numbers of what look like corals being sold as food. A number of these very intricate coral structures and soft corals and seaweeds and things like that being sold as foodstuffs. And yeah, sure enough, you see some kids sort of chewing on a large piece of this branching coral with these large fronds. And as they sort of reach down, grab a bit of water from the sea, tip it over, the fronds come out to taste the water, and then they go begin like chewing on these fronds of coral. Yeah. Disturbing as shit, I know. I don't know when my brain comes up with this stuff. I can only apologize. As you guys walk to the plane.
Right.
A Queensland thing.
It's the sun. It cooks my brain so all the thoughts just go really weird. Oh, Jared's face looks like one of the corals on the stream.
What? Oh, wow, what the hell's going on there?
Oh, it's back. If for those of you who can see the stream on YouTube, something funky was going on with Jared's face.
Oh, it cut out.
It's back.
stopped.
Oh man, I wanted to see Jared's coral face.
It's alright, just watch this.
That was weird.
Just rewind and watch the YouTube. Yeah.
That was weird.
That's a highlights reel. Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you.
Quenchiest.
It's the quenchiest. After that, Batara leads you through a series of streets, which look to be more sort of Telescon could be the seaweed. Very nice.
You know what?
Thank you.
I think Captain Sobby Seabeard had some kelp sap.
Yeah.
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 Just
Partaken
like
of the
on
weed of the
slide.
sea. Yeah.
He's sitting there.
You're in this city like 10 seconds and you're just like, oh.
Oh, that's some good shit. Yeah. Like chips, some salts in my mouth. So the Tara leads you through what looks to be more of a residential area, and you can see, lots of these Maloran orcs out and about, fishing off the side of the boats, weaving these very intricate baskets. And what really strikes you as you head into this section, lots of trees and lots of bushes and plant life and berries. They have these tubs of soil with sand all around, and they are growing green things in the city, in the middle of the city, outside their houses. You can see the roofs are covered in moss and lichen, and it looks like sort of, and probably Batara will be giving you a little bit of a tour as you go. So as she walks past you, and that's Dritmos. Without the city, Drifthaven would be gone. Dritmos filters the salt water into fresh water, lets us drink it, and provides us with lots of fresh water. So you'll see every roof here is covered in a thick carpet of it. It said Melora herself upon the first piece of driftwood that we forged this city from, blessed it with her divine breath. The drip moss came from there.
Incredible.
How are they desalinating the water?
Well, it's a very intricate process that I do not understand in the slightest, but what I can tell you is salt water is on them, and then the salt crystals solidify on the surface, and we scrape it off each morning, and the fresh water drips down into specially collected holes around the sides. You'll see on the roofs, the peak sections at the bottom, there'll be pipes set up that all channel that to a central cistern for water. Fresh water is available at all times.
Perfect.
Do they have spores and seeds available that we could maybe grow some ourselves, or is
I
it
can
limited to the island?
You can just take a scraping, lass, if you need. As long as it's got plenty of access to sunlight and fresh water, it'll grow.
I'd love to create a filtration system.
Yeah, I think it'd be very beneficial for our ship.
They would actually, yeah, 100%.
Aye, the question you haven't asked, but I know you're going to, it can filter your own piss.
I mean,
Yeah,
I wasn't
I
going
was
to
going to ask.
Sometimes when you're at sea for months and the weather is inclement and you're stuck inside, you can't get access, because you got to have lots of sunlight. So if it's an overcast day, the storm clouds are active, the moss isn't going to be filtering anything, especially seawater. So you need to have access to some water inside. So what we sometimes do is, if we've got access to some gemstones that can hold a bit of light, we'll set them up inside, a bit of light on the moss, take a piss on it. Fresh water, got some extra. The crystals are weird though. They have this sort of like much sharper yellowy appearance, a bit of a sulfur smell to them. Scrape them off, chuck them in the sea.
Dare I ask what the taste is like?
You may ask. I will not answer because I do not know.
Oh, you haven't tried it yourself?
No, I have not tried eating my own piss crystals, if that's what you're asking.
I mean, you were saying it like you were speaking so freely, like I thought you were speaking from experience. But
It's not a judgment thing, it's just I've never thought that would be something I would like.
Sure.
It does sound pleasant.
Okay.
Also sounds like you need to be able to piss in order to do it.
Hey? Like that one is going to have a bit of trouble. She points towards Lockie.
Yes. Pick.
Hello. there.
All the same, if I can, and like, do I have like a little like vial or something that I can like sort of ask permission to take like a scraping of the moss from?
Did Lyra have a little vial or something on her? And then a follow-up question, would Shana have bothered to bring that with her?
So Shana's carrying Lyra's bag pretty much as it was. I'm opening up Lyra's character sheet. Give me a quick second.
If you have a vial, you may add a vial of drip moss to your inventory. If you do not have a vial, you may add a scraping of drip moss to your inventory. You do?
She was a herbalist.
Herbalist kit? Yeah. Then absolutely, you can take a scraping of drip moss and chuck it in.
Heck yeah.
Alright, and through this section, she leads you back through into, there's a back, sort of basically heading out of the residential areas, but one of the things that strikes you, as you walk past, you get waves, you get hellos, not hellos, you get ahoys as you walk past. It seems that rather than saying hello, people say ahoy here. It would be like Chesky Krumlov and parts of Europe where they say ahoy instead of hello. And as you pass through, you get lots of ahoys as you head on through. It seems to be very friendly, very open community. Kids sort of rush around, probably more interested in Lockie and Shana. For the first time, Mira, you are not the weirdest member of the group, the most standout. Like a snake woman and a man made of metal. A man made of metal who rusts very easily on the surface of the sea in a place constantly buffeted by salty winds. Lockie is an unusual sight to be sure. The kids are so interested, and Shani, you find very quickly a game springs up among the children to try and tie little bits of fishnet around your tail without you noticing, so that you're dragging behind these fishnets as you are moving through the city. Very quickly, it becomes a game.
Where they hold onto your arm and just give them a little hoist.
Yeah. A few moments later, as you're sort of like still walking, going like this with children dangling off your arm, you hear one of the mothers come out and go, "Oi, Spogling, get back here!" And then drop off and run back again.
Bye.
I pay them no heed. There's no need to get to the little shites. Get back to your mothers. What are you doing out here? She's like, one of the children sort of runs up and begins like trying to offer Mira this like seaweed flower that she's like picked from them.
Aww.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, she'll take it.
Yeah, but Tara just kicks the kid out of the way. Like, get out here.
Oh.
Not kicks, sorry. Like nudges the kid out of the way. And keeps walking as you guys follow. You watch as the kid just yeets into the street. We got a game.
That children have not changed.
We've got a game here. We like to yeet children. Got a catapult in the center of town. Whoever can yeet a kid the furthest gets a whole month's worth of kelpsap. No. So she leads you through into a large open town square. You can see here that probably this was once a massive, massive canoe that has actually sunk. The pontoons and the hydrofoils are now under the water, so just the platform itself is visible above the water. And as people move about constantly, it is dropping just under the sea level, then coming back up again as water is constantly washed across the surface. And you can see there's a massive longhouse set up just in front of this that essentially is an overturned canoe. This massive overturned ship that has been turned into this structure. And the figure.
I would just like to add that Yervith's cloak would not be the typical green that was in the jungle. It would be shifting to more like, I guess, like grays and blues and more ocean colors, like deep dark navies and sort of like acclimatizing to the area.
Yeah, absolutely. You would have noticed on the airship as well that Yervith's cloak sort of took on a much sort of paler blue color, trying to match him with the sky and the clouds. And now as he's on the ground in this ocean area, every so often as you're walking over patches of open sea, the cloak almost shifts and ripples like the ocean itself.
Yeah.
Very strange effect as Yervith is wearing his cloak of environment. Batara sort of leads you up
Definitely
towards.
something to ask about later.
Batara leads you up to the longhouse and points, goes, Chief's in there. If you wanted to chat with him or any of his staff, if you had any complaints about the city, if you had any requests, if you were looking for... you look like the adventuring type if you were looking for jobs. I know the League of Adventurers has a representative in there who works out of there. I think most days, but not weekends and not midweek either. Actually, come to think of it, I think that lazy shite's only in there once or twice.
Batara, do you know if they're in contact with anyone in Oxenford?
Oh, I all the leagues are in contact with one another, the various headquarters.
I do have news that I must get to Oxenford. The Historical Society, they need to know that I'm alive.
You could go through the league, otherwise we do have an Aarakocra messenger outpost here as well. And she points down one of the central alleyways. You can see the tallest building in this place, a thin spire reaching up to the heavens with a large platform on top that is swaying so precariously in the wind and the sea. It kind of makes you a bit seasick to watch this for any length of time. And as you're watching, you can see an Aarakocra climbing up the outside of this thing. And as it sways, he's being shifted about. He climbs up again, pauses as it shifts. And then when he gets to the top, he sways and with one final tumble falls off the top, catching himself with his wings and flying off with a bag full of letters and things like that as he takes off and flies. This one's a very pelican-looking Aarakocra. Large white plumage, big beak. And as he sort of flies off flapping, you can kind of hear these curses in the wind, like, fuck, I gotta fly. As he begins flying along.
That's perfect. I'll prepare a message for him to send.
Just be warned, they charge an arm and a leg out here. Not literally, but the poor messenger birds. I mean, it's a rough flight, let me put it that way.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but just to bring something up, Leosin was saying that he was in contact with someone 2 days ago. The chance of him having message is probably quite high.
True. That is a good point. Maybe I'll catch up with Leosin and pass my message on to him to send to his contact.
Look, if you've got access to magic, please feel free to use it. We're not against magic here. My lord is a goddess of the wilderness and magic. We love magic. Magic's great. Place wouldn't be floating without magic.
Interesting. Well.
Oh, tavern. I think our tour of the city's almost complete. You're not interested in the any of the other areas, right? Straight to the tavern? How do we feel about that?
Well, what's the time? Is it early, late? What time did the airship sort of roll in?
Mid-afternoon, sort of around 3.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably drinks.
It's a bit early for a brewski, but not by much.
Is it though?
It's a Friday, no.
Is it though?
Brewski. You need to explain that word.
What was that, sorry?
You need to explain that word to everyone else in the world.
I refuse.
Oh, everyone uses brewski. It's a thing!
Context. I'll get it right.
Yeah. Hang on, the camera glitch is happening again. This time to Matt. Now Matt's become an orc. Look at this. Oh, that's amazing.
Is Bree somehow in here using her number pad?
Oh, he's back. Well, he's gone.
Back. Oh no.
He's back. There we go. Pink skin. Yeah, Batara leads you down the streets, heading back towards the dock area. And before too long, you come across a long building that's being sort of constructed out of about 2 or 3 canoes with various walls that have been built in. And you can hear the sound of very upbeat, lively music coming from inside, along with voices talking. And you can see that a couple of people are walking in and out of the clearly a tavern, are walking in and out. And there's a couple of different entrances, as well as on the roof, there's almost like a little beer garden set up on the roof. You can see that it's got essentially lots and lots of barrels that people are sitting on. Some of them have been carved out into chairs, and these very, very loose ropes set up as an almost vague perimeter on the top of this thing. And as you watch, you can see there's a half-orc talking to his human companion, this very dark-skinned man with short-cropped curly hair and a very elegant moustache and beard, who's chatting quite animatedly. And as this human sort of leans back into the rope, he then tips forwards and then rolls behind and drops into the ocean below. As his half-orc friends begin laughing very, very loud and pointing at him, he sort of sputters and pulls himself out of the water and looks up and goes, "Well, I feel more awake. Wow." Heads back inside, dripping wet from the ocean. Aye, that's about right for this place. So, what do you think? Sit down, buy me a drink. Can tell me who you are, what you're doing here. I'll tell you a little bit about this place. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds perfect, lass.
Aye, there's a bit of a tradition amongst our kind of sharing stories when you first meet someone, when you stay with someone. Now, I'm not inviting you back to my place. However, tradition should be upheld. I think we can call this place a sanctuary for the purposes of our conversation. So we will trade stories, we will drink, and we will make merry. How does that sound?
Sounds like a wonderful time.
I think so too. I think you'll find yourselves enjoying the way of the Maloran orcs on this floating city. And she leads you inside the tavern. And that is where we're going to wrap up for tonight.
Hey.
As we get on to the next section of the tavern.
Awesome.
I like
And-
this place.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
I love this place.
It's cool.
Drifthaven.
Yeah.
Drifthaven is a
Very
lot of fun.
cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Oh, goodness me. Alrighty, well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. That NPC that they were interacting with, the half-orc Batara, she is a NPC that was created by one of you, one of the viewers. When you join us live, you can spend your Twitch channel points to do all sorts of fun things, giving advantage, disadvantage, but you can also create NPCs. So thank you to Teller999 for creating Batara League. We're going to have a little bit more with Batara next session as well. I want to make sure we get to really enjoy that character. If you have anything you would like to add, anything you want to have in there, you can email me at thelostarchives@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can just chuck it in the chat. I'll see it because the chat's always active, so I'll check that as well. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you want to add about Batara, anything else you want to have. But I've got your brief here, and I think, I hope I've done a good job portraying what you were imagining when you created this character. Well, that's it from me. Thank you so much, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and we will see you all again next time. Farewell, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Alright.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
Bye!